Right now, behind the scenes, there's a massive shift completely disrupting public affairs. In this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly how organizations are adapting to a world where policy isn't just decided behind closed doors anymore. It's actually being actively molded right out in the digital public square. So, think about this. How exactly does public opinion shape a policy before a bill is even debated? Well, that is a reality that every executive, every business owner, and honestly, every public affairs professional has to confront right now. The crucial conversations that impact your industry's future, they're already happening, and they're moving at a speed that traditional methods literally just can't match.
The simple truth here is that policy conversations have totally escaped government offices. They've moved past the parliamentary committees and those formal industry conferences. Now, they're raging online. I mean, a single viral thread can derail a whole policy agenda before lawmakers even sit down to draft a bill. It's a total paradigm shift, and it absolutely demands a new corporate strategy if you want your organization's voice to actually be heard. Okay, so here is our roadmap for today. We will be covering the new policy battleground, what digital advocacy actually is, how it compares to traditional methods, the 5 essential pillars to build your strategy, how Linkonize integrates all of this, and finally, the real benefits of going digital.
All right, let's jump straight into Section 1, the new policy battleground, moving beyond the back room. You have to realize that your stakeholders, we're talking decision makers, journalists, and everyday citizens, they're getting their policy information in entirely new arenas. Today's battle for public opinion, it's playing out in rapid-fire debates on social media platforms. It's in the deep dive discussions happening in online communities. It's all over breaking coverage from digital news outlets, and it's happening live in interactive virtual events. Honestly, this is exactly where the fight is being fought and won right now. Moving along to Section 2. What is digital advocacy? We're defining the modern public affairs strategy. So, at its core, digital advocacy is the strategic, planned use of online platforms and digital communication tools. But here's the crucial point. It is a highly deliberate effort. It's specifically designed to inform your audience, engage them in really meaningful ways, and mobilize them around specific public policy issues, new legislation, or vital social initiatives. It is definitely not just random online noise. And what's really fascinating here is the sheer variety of formats organizations can use to actually get people involved. We're talking educational content and policy explainers that break down really complex issues, all the way to targeted social media and email campaigns. You can host webinars, you can run online consultations, you can publish in-depth thought leadership articles. The whole goal is to communicate consistently across multiple touchpoints, reaching a much broader audience than you ever could face-to-face. Which brings us to Section 3, traditional versus digital advocacy, expanding the reach of public affairs. Now, this is a vital distinction to make. Traditional advocacy relies heavily on those direct, face-to-face meetings and formal consultations. And hey, that is absolutely essential. You can think of traditional advocacy as the vital handshake. But digital advocacy, that's the megaphone. It complements those traditional efforts by massively expanding your audience reach. It supports ongoing public education, and crucially, it keeps your visibility really high in those long, quiet periods between major announcements. Let's dive into Section 4, the 5 essential pillars, the blueprint for digital advocacy. Think of this blueprint as a continuous ecosystem for your organization. It goes in steps: audience research, clear messaging, high-value content, multi-channel distribution, and finally, continuous engagement. Let's break each one of these down. Okay, Pillar 1, audience research. Every single successful campaign has to start right here because, frankly, you cannot craft a strategy until you know exactly who needs to be reached. Are you targeting the policymakers and regulators holding the pen? Are you talking to industry professionals and businesses? What about NGOs, community groups, journalists, academics, or just the wider public? Every single one of these audiences absolutely requires a different communication style. That leads right into Pillar 2, clear messaging. This is all about clarity and trust. You need to explain complex issues simply, present your evidence clearly, and focus firmly on the facts. If you can't do that, you lose trust. And in the digital square, trust is literally your currency. The objective here is to encourage constructive dialogue and ensure your organization remains a consistent, reliable voice across every single channel. Next is Pillar 3, high-value content. This could be articles and blogs, infographics, short-form videos and podcasts, policy summaries, or deep case studies and research insights. By providing genuine educational value, you build a foundation. You stop looking like just another corporate promoter pushing an agenda, and you actually become a trusted authority and a go-to resource in your market. Then we have Pillar 4, multi-channel distribution. Effective advocacy means reaching your audiences exactly where they already spend their time online. And each platform has a tactical purpose. You've got LinkedIn for that professional reach. You've got X, formerly Twitter, for rapid, real-time dialogue. YouTube is perfect for in-depth video explainers, while Facebook, Instagram, and things like email newsletters or corporate websites capture the wider public and your direct stakeholders.
And the final step, Pillar 5, continuous engagement. Listen, digital advocacy is not a set-it-and-forget-it tactic. It's a relentless, ongoing process. You need to be responding to questions, sharing timely updates, publishing new insights, and actively participating in ongoing discussions while highlighting policy developments. That consistency is exactly what builds your long-term credibility.
Now for Section 5, how Linkonize integrates advocacy, a unified approach to public affairs. So, rather than treating digital communication like some isolated silo, Linkonize actually integrates it seamlessly. Your digital engagement and education connect directly to stakeholder engagement and public affairs consulting. Your online policy and legislation efforts are tied right into government relations and legislative tracking. And your brand and visibility? They're completely intertwined with strategic communications, media relations, and reputation management. It's one connected, unified strategy.
All right, Section 6, the benefits of going digital, achieving long-term strategic success.
So, what's the actual ROI for an organization that commits to navigating this modern blueprint? Well, the strategic outcomes are huge. You get much greater visibility among your stakeholders. You build bulletproof stakeholder relationships driven by that consistent trust we talked about. You facilitate better policy education, making complex issues so much easier to understand. Plus, you get an enhanced reputation through demonstrated thought leadership and just vastly improved strategic communications across all those multiple channels. I want to pause for a second on this exact quote from our source material. Effective advocacy is no longer limited to meeting rooms. It now happens wherever meaningful conversations take place online. That is absolutely spot on. It perfectly captures the urgency and the undeniable reality of today's policy landscape. Every executive absolutely has to understand this shift. Because at the end of the day, organizations that communicate consistently and provide truly valuable information online aren't just reacting to policy. They are better positioned to actively shape those conversations. Building relationships through digital channels isn't just a nice-to-have anymore. It is the ultimate prerequisite for contributing constructively to the public dialogue. Which brings us to one final, really vital question for you to consider. Is your organization ready to lead the digital policy conversation? Take a hard look at your current visibility. Think about how a unified, modern approach, maybe by partnering with experts like Linkonize, could completely transform your ability to communicate policy effectively in this digital age. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will leave you to ponder that exact question.